So the Diddy trial's ongoing. A lot of crazy ish comes out in court like every day, man. The Molotov cocktails was really something that just blew my mind. We had heard those stories or whatever, but to hear it, like the court reports about it all, just crazy, man. And the Christmas presents, Diddy being the Grinch that stole Christmas, absolutely bonkers, man. This guy he thought he was like a real life movie villain or a mafioso type, man. Like, Diddy truly believed his gimmick to the fullest, but when you're running around on these D-rugs having these crazy freak offs like this, I think you just sometimes maybe possibly lose the lines between reality and what's going too far. And you feel me on that? Like, nothing's too far for Diddy. He believes he's drinking his own Kool-Aid to the fullest. It's so nuts too. People are actually theorizing that when he did that ish at Kid Cudi's house, stole the kids' Christmas gifts, the Molotov cocktails and everything, that he may have violated his dog. I'm not even joking. People really are theorizing, what did he do to Kid Cudi's dog? Because where it was, like, the dog was never the same after that. But with all this craziness being said, I don't know if y'all have seen one of Diddy's arch nemesis is weighing in on all the madness.
Now to the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial. Enters a fourth week of testimony as we hear from Suge Knight, Combs' rap rival, whose name has come up often at the trial. Dan Abrams is standing by. We're going to talk to him after Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky gives us this report from the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
And good morning to you, George. Long before federal prosecutors put Sean Combs on trial here, his chief hip-hop competitor told us that Combs was known in the industry for some of the very conduct that could now put him in prison.
Can't nobody hold me down. Oh no.
This morning, as a fourth week of testimony begins in the Sean Combs trial in New York, his West Coast rival and Death Row Records founder Suge Knight is speaking out from behind bars in California, telling ABC News Combs' sexual appetites were an open secret beginning in the 1990s.
Everybody knew that Puffy didn't just pop in the industry and say, hey, I want to have sex with everybody.
The rivalry between Combs and Knight, notoriously marked by the shooting deaths of Biggie Smalls and Knight's artist Tupac Shakur, has come up at trial. Capricorn Clark became Combs' assistant after working for Knight and testified that on her first day, Combs took her to Central Park. He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me.
A lot of people might say, well, Capricorn could have did anything else she wanted to do. She did try. If you go get a job at Universal and probably make a phone call, you're not getting that job. If you go get a job at a talent agency or in the movie business and probably make that call, your career is over.
Knight has come up during trial at least 50 times. Another former assistant, David James, testified he once spotted Knight at Mel's Diner in Los Angeles and was then forced to accompany Combs, who he said was armed, to confront him.
If there's anything that suggesting that I was doing anything illegal, I'm going to say definitely not.
Knight, who spoke to us from a California prison where he's serving time for a fatal hit and run, expressed some sympathy for Combs.
I don't feel that they should take Puppy and lock him up and throw away the key. I think he can do so much good right now. Him telling the truth about the industry.
And despite their long-standing rivalry, Suge Knight told us he does not hate Sean Combs. Now, a new week of testimony begins here this morning with Combs' former assistant testifying under the pseudonym Mia, back on the witness stand and under cross-examination. Guys?
Okay, Aaron, let's bring in Dan Abrams for more on this. Suge Knight, important witness for prosecutors.
Look, Suge Knight is basically saying at this point, from behind bars, you have to understand there's more context here. He's not the only one who is doing things like that. He's sort of walking a very fine line, suggesting that he should testify, right? He's not going to testify in this case. And I don't know that I would take legal advice from Suge Knight from behind bars right now. But, it is interesting when you look at the context more culturally of the hip-hop world to listen to Suge Knight. I think it's less significant with regard to the actual trial.
Well, how successful have prosecutors been in proving racketeering and sex trafficking?
More successful than I thought they were going to be. I mean, when we talked about this early in the case, I was talking about how hard the RICO, the racketeering part was going to be. But you're seeing now witness after witness come forward talking about his employees assisting in this, right? Now you have the enterprise. The enterprise is the people who work for him doing the things he's telling them to do. And then you have potential crime after crime after crime that's being alleged, which is everything from kidnapping and arson to extortion, et cetera. And you were asking me a moment ago, Michael, but, wait a sec, have they necessarily proved each and every one of these? And that's going to be the question, right? That's going to be the question that has to be addressed is there enough proof to say that there was an arson, for example? It wasn't proved in court. Has it in another case, meaning, so has it been proved here?
And who else does the prosecution then need to put on the stand to prove all of this?
Well, so they have another victim, another critical victim who's going to come forward, an ex-girlfriend of his who's going to testify. And I think, again, you're going to see the same kind of defense that we've seen in each one of these, which is, again and again, it's you came back, you didn't complain at the time, and why would you write all these positive things about him in the meantime? So you're going to see similar defenses throughout with regard to these witnesses.
All right, Dan Abram, thank you as always, my friend.
So y'all heard it there, man. Suge Knight weighing in from behind bars. The one dude, man, cracking jokes. He said, I don't know if he should take any legal advice from Suge Knight. That's an understatement, man. Suge Knight's a dude that just could never stay out of jail. All that money, all that success, beating artists in the head too. Some artists, they say Suge looked out for, but other artists he was taken from. Just look into his repertoire and all that, man. The stories are well documented. But it's like Suge, think about that. Suge could not stay out of jail for nothing. Diddy, it took him all this time. And he's facing being locked down with all the madness and freak-offs and D-rugs and parties and stuff like that. And the crazy thing I keep pointing out is we wouldn't even be here where this trial would have been ongoing, where the feds would have raided him if he would have just settled the lawsuit before Cassie actually filed it. When they were negotiating, he would have paid her. It would have never came out in the press. Everything would have been signed away, secret, signed, sealed, delivered. She gets her payday and things would have went on. But once that news came out, all the other individuals that were violated by Diddy and then other ones that lied, because some telling the truth, some making stories up, just everyone started coming forth with their stories and the feds got involved. That's crazy to think about it. But like Diddy, it took him all this time. Suge just couldn't stay out of jail at all. It's kind of bonkers to think about. But these two hated each other. You heard them mention the thing about Mel's Diner. That came out in Cassie's testimony, that they were in the middle of a freak-off party when that happened, and he put the freak-off on hold to go holler at Suge Knight. So that's just really something that Diddy kicked the door back, threw the orgy on hold, killed them both, and smeared blood on a white Bronco. Now, them are some Eminem bars, but for real, he put the orgy on hold to go get at Suge Knight. Like, these two really don't like each other. And you hear that, what's her name, Capricorn Clark or whatever, someone who worked for Suge, then worked for Diddy, and Suge's talking about like, Diddy could block her from getting other jobs and stuff. And there's a lot of things between Suge and Diddy where they had dealings with the same people. It's kind of nuts too. Like, I think Suge and Dr. Dre, which different story, but we know they didn't get along. I think they might have the same baby mom, if I'm not mistaken. It's like pretty nuts. Like, these dudes were just trying to have their way with any woman that was around at one point or another. It's really twisted. And then Suge's talking about, I don't want him to lock him up and throw away the key. But I'm glad things about the industry are getting exposed. And it just goes to show you that a lot of these stories of this twisted stuff that we're hearing, this is only a percent of it. You know what I'm saying? That these kind of things have been going on forever. Just sick, twisted parties and all kinds of stuff. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to me that Suge Knight said that. Let me know what you guys think about it all. And about the testimony, about the trial, etc. But it is funny that Suge said, yeah, I wasn't doing anything illegal at all. You know, like Suge was afraid of him being implicated in something. You know, he's already got too many legal problems he doesn't want anymore. But yeah, it's like these two could have been friends in a way, because people close to Suge like have said in the past, like if you catch this clip from this interview, he I don't know, he had some similarities with Diddy.
So Sugar kind of got depicted sort of as a bodyguard sometimes, but he was just your friend.
Yeah.
That was just your homie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but he was kind of a bodyguard, though. He did play that role.
Okay.
Like, and he enjoyed that. You know,
You like that?
Suge was a big kid. He's a deviant. You know what I mean? Like, he used to tell stories about pissing on football players' legs in the shower and thought that was just the funniest shit in the world. You know what I mean? He was just a deviant. He just liked to do crazy shit and thought it was funny, you know?
Now,
think about that, right? The DOC said, man, he was a deviant. He thought it was the funniest thing in the world when he played football in his athlete days to piss on motherfuckers' legs in the shower and just, like, you know what I'm saying? Think about the type of person that does that, right? In the shower, pissing on other men in the locker room. And then on top of it, think about the person that does that and like is running around and can't wait to tell their friends and think it's the funniest thing in the world. Like you could see the DOC was like, man, this dude was fucked up, you know? But they had their dealings or whatever. You heard him. He played somewhat of a bodyguard role. But jump in the comments and let me know what you think about the trial thus far, if you think that he's going to be convicted or not, and what you think about Suge's commentary and his legal situation as well, and just them hating each other. You know, like Suge's trying to be the bigger man in the press, but we know, like, just like a lot of these stories turned out to be true, a lot of this stuff that's being exposed about Diddy in the industry, right? A lot of the stuff about them having beef with each other was very true, and there's lives lost on both sides of it all. It's crazy. But yeah, I just want to talk and hear everyone's take if you think Diddy will be convicted or not. As you heard him saying, there's someone going under the alias MIA, a former assistant, that is going to testify. I'm intrigued to hear about that testimony, as well as there's going to be another victim, and you heard him saying how the defense is going to like paint this picture and ask, why did you come back around? Why were you cool? Then you weren't, but you would come back. And I don't know, you know, it's like that was put out there in regards to Cassie. But then we heard the stories about when she tried to get away, you know, Diddy would have, not stories, two things confirmed in court with documentation to back it up, but that he would have security hunt her down and snatch her up and all that. But also when she was at her mom's, how Diddy went over there tripping, was about to stall off on Cassie's mom, where a bodyguard had to get in between them. And then he told her, okay, give me 20 grand to cover her personal expense account that she spent at Bad Boy that wasn't recouped and zeroed out. There's still a balance there. And you know, that there was a big news in the trial that she had to get a home equity loan or whatever to pay him that 20K, but he ended up returning it. You know what I mean? It's like, just shows you that a lot of these women, they just go back out of fear. It's pretty fucking crazy, man. Like Diddy is just a psychopath. So let's talk about that all in the comments. And then just one other piece of news that I wanted to go over, hitting the news, man, about 50 Cent. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but back some time back, there was a lawsuit. Well, a bunch of lawsuits, people suing him. You know, like we see Rapper The Game, he has a judgment against him that he's running around and cooking the books and hiding all his money in Whack 100's accounts and all this stuff. All that Priscilla Rainey tries to get the money, and she hasn't been successful in really getting that much money back. But then at the same time, like, it's wearing The Game down with all the cooking the books and stuff that he has to do to make sure every little piece of brethren that he got in revenue coming in is protected in some way, that she can't, go to the court and get the garnishment order on it. It's crazy. But 50 Cent had a situation back like that with Rick Ross, Baby's mom, with the leaked porno and everything like that. And 50, I always look at him like he's a step ahead of a lot of these rappers. Like, he's smart with his money and whatnot. And he filed bankruptcy as a way of not paying these orders back. And there were all these legal proceedings about creditors and people that he owed money trying to get their share. And, was it before or after the bankruptcy? And this Jaharia Rodriguez, right? It's all over the news. Fifth's trying to get it squashed, that it already was, that they told her, hey, your personal injury claim, which you cannot seem to find anywhere through any digging what it is that she's alleging she got hurt. Is it physical, emotional, like she was working for 50? I don't know. There's not really a clear answer for what exactly the deal was and what her claim is, but she's trying to go back to the court to get this reopened, and I'm sure she won't be successful because it wasn't before the bankruptcy thing protected them, but it's already been ruled that way, and she's just trying to like reopen the case. But I just thought that was kind of interesting, looking at 50 Cent in the Game. Like we said, the Game lost this sexual assault lawsuit, and he's just doing a bunch of book cooking and hiding money and shit like that, where Fifth did the old, hey, I'm bankrupt. You guys remember it? Like, it was a big thing where he took the Social Network and put up pictures of him spelling out broke with a bunch of money. Like, haha, I ain't broke, but y'all motherfuckers ain't getting nothing. And this woman's still mad, wants her piece. I wonder what the personal injury claim is, though. It's not really disclosed anywhere. But hit the comments, your thoughts on it all. Subscribe to the channel. Look forward to hearing from everyone. If you're new, just like coffee, talking it up with you guys in the comments. Stay tuned for updates, other news stories, stuff like that, live streams where you can call in. And I'm up out of here, guys. Peace.